Wonderful. Well, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining the SLAMS Home and School Association first general meeting of the year. My name is Andrew Stober. I'm the president of the Home and School Association, and I'm joined by many of our board members today and excited to see a whole bunch of parents joining us as well. And of course, we also have Principal Boyle here, which is great. We're going to start off with some introductions, then have some updates for all of you, let you know about our 2024 plans as an HSA and our fundraising goals, tell you a little bit about how you can help, and then have lots of time for what we're calling a parent-to-parent conversation. Fortunately, we are being chaperoned by Principal Boyle, who can correct us if we get anything wildly wrong. But here to
I've been chaperoned in so long.
Yeah,
it's been years.
Here to answer your questions as parents about being a SLAMS parent, validate things that you're hearing, or give you our own tips from having been SLAMS parents ourselves. A couple more people joining. Wonderful. All right. Well, first we're going to go around and I'm going to ask the board members to introduce themselves, and then we're going to ask the attendees if you could just tell us your name, the grade that your student or students are in, and what neighborhood you're in.
I'll start. Why not? I'm Allison Fagel. I'm part of the board. I'm an 8th grade parent, so I'm the 8th grade representative. My son is Oliver. He is, he's a Phoenix. He's a, I can't remember the 8th grade teams. I'm sorry. I can't believe that. But anyway, what else? Oh, I live in South Philadelphia, past Young Square.
I'm Kim Kindlesberger. I'm also on the HSA board. I am the secretary. My son Max is an 8th grade Zephyr, and I too live in South Philadelphia.
Hi, my name's, can everybody hear me? My name's Sean Malloy. I'm the 6th grade rep. My son is in 6th grade. He is a Voyager, and we live in West Passyunk, South Philly. It's our 2nd year at SLAMS.
Hi, I'm Catherine Mahoney. My son's name is Finn. He is a 7th grade Zephyr, and I live in the Bella Vista section of South Philadelphia. Oh, and also, sorry, I'm the 7th grade rep.
Jen, I think that leaves you.
I'll jump in. I'm Jen Forbes-Nicotera. My son is Wilbert in 5th grade, and we're also alumni family with older students at SLA Center City and Saul. And we live in West Philly near Clark Park.
Wonderful. Well, thank you. These are the folks who are doing an incredible amount of volunteer work.
Andrew, Debbie's here too.
Oh, is Debbie here?
Yeah,
Great.
hi.
There you are.
Sorry, I'm finishing dinner, so as soon as I finish, I'll turn on the camera. But yeah, I have Desi in 5th grade, and then I have an 8th grader as well. And I live in the Cobbs Creek section of West Philly.
Hi, I'm Erica. I'm Magic's mom, 8th grade. She's a Phoenix.
Asia, how about you go next?
My name is Asia. I have a 7th grader who is a Zephyr, and I live in the Cobbs Creek section of West Philadelphia.
Monica?
Can you hear me? Okay, hi.
Yep.
My name is Monica Velasco Gonzalez. My son, Ariel, is an 8th grade Zephyr, I think, and we live kind of in West Philly.
Katie?
Sorry, yes, I'm also eating dinner, so I will maybe at some point turn off the screen. I I'm Katie. My daughter is Elsa. She's a 6th grade Voyager, and I'm also down in South Philly in East Passaic Square or something like that.
Great. And Doug?
And I think Doug was trying to join. I don't know.
Yeah,
Did he
I'm here.
Oh,
I'm here.
there he
Hello,
is.
everybody. The lesser half of Kathleen. Also in South Philly. Also dad, well, I guess differently, parent slash dad of Elsa, 6th grade Voyager.
Great. And who do we have here? Heather. All right. Well, Heather maybe figures out her mic. Lauren.
Hi, I'm Lauren. I am Paxton's mom. He's a 5th grade Voyager, and we live in Queen Village.
Great. Mark.
Hey, Mark Mumbauer. My son Gabriel is 8th grade Zephyr, and we're in Mount Airy, and I am multitasking with the Phillies game. So
Excellent. Feel free to give us any critical updates along the way.
you don't want them right now. No, not right now.
Or you can also spare us if they're painful. Andrea.
Hi, everyone. I'm Andrea Tomola. I'm here representing Drexel as one of the partners of SLAMS. I also live in South Philly, so if I see any of y'all in the neighborhood, I'll say hello.
Great. Karen.
Hi. I live also in Bella Vista, and my daughters, one is in 7th grade, one is in 5th grade, and I am completely blanking on what teams they're on right now. It's been a long day at work.
Great. And we'll give Heather another shot if she's got her mic working. If not, no worries. Great. And did I miss anybody? Feel free to jump off mic if I missed you. All right. Yes, Kim.
If everyone could take a moment to complete our attendance sheet, that's in the chat. The link is in the chat. It's to not only have us keep an attendance, which we have to report back to the Philadelphia Home and School Association. It also helps build our email list, so you can make sure to get our emails about upcoming meetings, events, and any volunteer opportunities. So if you would take a moment to complete that, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Wonderful. All right. Great. Well, thank you for all taking time out of your evenings to join us for this meeting. As your Home and School Association, we have set 3 goals for ourselves for this year. Our goals as HSA are to support teachers to foster fun for the entire school community, but particularly teachers and students, and to build community. And we are off to a strong start on all of these fronts. In August, we welcomed the teachers back on their first day, all back at school with a breakfast in the morning. We did a special appreciation for Mr. Boyer, who leads the school climate staff. Just last week, some of you, if any of you on this call, contributed to the slide deck that we put together celebrating his contributions to the school. Thank you so much. It brought tears to his eyes, seeing all of the comments from his colleagues, from parents, from students. It was hard not to get misty reading it, and he was really appreciative of it. We are having fun and also building community. So pretzel sales, this is a photo from just today's very pretzel sales. You can see the line, our children are all Philadelphians, even if some of us parents may not be, so therefore they love pretzels and will find $1 to pay for one. And so we do those sales every Wednesday from 3 to 3:45. If anyone is interested in volunteering, if you can come by, if that's a convenient time or you're picking up your kid, we would love to have you volunteer to support. And we have also kicked off our first swag sale of the year. We have all sorts of swag. It is available until this Sunday. So the way we do this is we don't pre-stock swag. It's all custom ordered and produced and then sent right to your child's advisory for pickup. So definitely check out the swag sale if you can. And we have some great things coming up in the next couple of months. We are going to do our photo day in the fall. We're still finalizing a date, but likely in November. And that'll be, the photo day is super important for providing photos to the yearbook, and then also obviously, you know, creating those school pictures, and if you want to have them for posterity for your family. And we're going to try to do a fall dance this year as well, also in November. A great way to bring the community together, bring the kids together, and have some fun. And it is something that the HSA sponsors. We have some ambitious plans for ourselves for this year. We really wanted to think about, and as a board, we got together over the summer and thought about how can we really bring to life the goals that we set for ourselves in terms of supporting teachers and staff, fostering fun, and building community, and how much would it cost to do that. And so when it came to supporting teachers and staff, we talked to the teachers and staff about what were things that we could do that would help them feel supported. And so these are some goals for ourselves for this year. So one idea is to have $100 classroom grants for all teachers. So a teacher wants to do something special for their class, celebrate something, bring some extra resources into the classroom, take that burden off of a teacher, something that they might just pay for out of pocket themselves. And so providing a $100 grant to each of the teachers would be a total of $2,200. Making sure that we are appreciating our teachers with gifts and meals. You saw we already got off to a good start with that, and we're going to try to do that on a quarterly basis. That'll probably work out to about $1,000 for the year. And then we also heard that it would be a great stress reliever for teachers as the field trips are coming back. If the community could come together and cover transportation for one school field trip for every student. So there are about 360 students at the school. A yellow bus is about $10 a student. We want to have 2 dances this year. We know those are really popular events with the students. We also know that they wind up becoming great opportunities for parents to come together at those events. And those set us back about $700 a piece. And last, but certainly not least, is building community. Picture day and photos for the yearbook. That comes to about a $1,200 tab just to bring the photographer in. You know, one of the challenges with school photos these days is that, frankly, fewer parents are purchasing photos. I think we can all understand, right? It's so much easier to have a picture of your kids these days. So photographers are now charging just to show up. And so we have some money that already in place to help subsidize that, but it'll be about another $800. And then making the moving up ceremony as great as it deserves to be for our 8th graders. And that comes to about $1,000. So overall, we're looking at about a $10,000 goal for ourselves for this year. This is something that historically the HSA is not the kind of goal that it set for itself, but we wanted to try to think big this year and invite parents along to help us in supporting it, because these were all things that as board members we felt we could really stand behind in terms of important contributions to the school. So there are plenty of ways to donate. Unfortunately, probably every time you see me, I will ask you for money. Feel free to say no, feel comfortable saying no, but also know that we're going to be giving you plenty of opportunities to our efforts here. We've set up a Venmo. We have PayPal as well as 2 easy ways to contribute. And whether you're donating $5 or $50 or $500 or any dollar amount in between. Every one of those dollars helps us reach these goals and can help us, I think, bring to life some of these will be really great opportunities for the school this year. But your time is more valuable in many ways than your money, for sure. So some key needs that we have for volunteering is it would be great if there's someone in our community who's a graphic designer and would love to help us upgrade our graphic design as we do our outreach. Definitely need help for pretzel days on Wednesdays from 3 to 3:45. That's an ongoing thing, and could always use help for planning the dances, for the day of the dance. Those are great opportunities to just volunteer for a couple of hours, have some fun, get to know some other parents, and make a wonderful contribution to the school. So you can click on this QR code. I'll leave it up for a little bit if you're interested in volunteering. Also, feel free to just email the HSA account. And I think Kim probably is also going to drop the link to volunteer in there as well. And I saw that Megan joined us. Welcome, Megan. Really glad to have you here. I'm Andrew, the HSA president. We went around at the beginning of the call and had everyone introduce themselves. So I just wanted to offer you the opportunity to introduce yourself. Tell us what grade your kid or kids are in and what neighborhood you're in, if you would like to.
Hi, so I am Megan. I am a mom of a 5th grader. I'm doing bath time for my 2 toddlers right now, which is why I was one late and also will not be on screen. And we are in the West Philly neighborhood.
Awesome.
So close to Malcolm X Park.
Excellent. Well, welcome. Good luck with bath time. I also have a toddler. So have fun and hope you can listen in as well. Great. So what many of you probably came here for was what we advertised as the parent-to-parent conversation. And I just wanted to also welcome again Principal Boyle, who's here, who can chime in with any questions as well. Heather, yes.
Hi, sorry, I was eating dinner before I didn't get to do the intro. I think I'm sideways. I'm Heather. My daughter Finley is in 7th grade. She's a Zephyr, and I live in South Philly. I had a question about the fundraising slide. Can I pivot back to that?
Yeah.
Would we be able to, from the HSA, send out like a kind of like a fundraising letter, like summarizing what you said? We did it at my daughter's previous school, and it was like the easiest fundraiser I ever ran. Just kind of like outlining what our goals are and saying, if you don't have time to do a bake sale or whatever, here's your opportunity, here's some ways to donate. And like, we made a couple grand just sending an email, and it was delightful.
Absolutely. Thank you. That is a great suggestion. I think I heard you volunteer to lead our fundraising committee.
I will do. I have my old draft from the other one. I will email you guys separately and we can go back and forth.
Yeah, that's awesome. That would be fantastic. We're putting together a fundraising plan, and that kind of effort will certainly be part of it.
Great. Thanks.
Sure. So for our parent-to-parent conversation, one, feel free to drop questions in the chat or use the raise hand function, or we have enough people on this call just to come off the mic. There are definitely no silly questions at all. And then just remember, we're here speaking as parents, not as the school administration, but we do have the school administration here. Also, if you have any questions where you feel like you need we need some help from Principal Boyle. So while folks are thinking of questions, I just want to give Principal Boyle a chance if he has anything to say while folks come up with their questions.
Good evening. Also wrangling a 18-month-old. So if you hear any strange noises coming from me, that is Roya here. You can say hi really quickly. Say hi, baby. Please about it. But yeah, glad everyone's on the call. Happy to answer any questions that you might have. But really wanted to make time for everybody to talk, maybe other than me for a change.
Great. All right. Well, I am gonna, if I don't see any questions here, so I'm gonna get started with a question for the other parents here that I know was a hot topic, particularly in our 5th grade household, and that was my student tells me that they don't have homework. Is that true? Maybe some of the 8th grade parent, maybe Kim or another 8th grade parent wants to chime in on that one.
Hi, this is Erica. I'm the Magic's mom,
Yeah.
8th grade, and we've been there since 7th grade. And homework isn't really a big thing unless you don't complete the assignment in school. And that was the reason why I picked the school, because I feel like they're in school for so many hours, and it leaves home time for family, extracurriculars, which we do have a lot of. So homework isn't always the most common thing unless you don't finish in school.
Anyone else want to chime in about their homework experience?
Feel like I
Exactly
wanna-
what Erica said. Like it happens in our house. It has happened sometimes where things are not completed in class, but it's never more than 45 minutes, half an hour, if that, and that's rare.
Jen, you looked like you wanted to chime in as
Yeah, I
well.
was just gonna say that it's easier to catch up now that interims are when we have conferences. But my oldest, it was end of October when we realized, oh, he hadn't mastered that turn in piece of doing the work.
Yes.
And he had like, I don't know, 15 missing assignments. I'm like, this is not possible. And then now we check Google Classroom consistently so that we never have a backlog like that. And they understand that, you know, it's okay to have to take 15 minutes to catch up today rather than having to use a whole weekend to catch up from a month. I
Yeah,
feel
so-
like the broader community has figured that out to get people, you know, on board faster. My oldest was third class of SLAMS.
Yeah, so I think a couple of key points that I would pull out from that is one, yes, there is not homework for the sake of having homework, but as a parent, I found it is important to be checking Google Classroom to make sure that assignments are getting done and work is getting done at school. Because if it's not getting done at school, it is expected that it get done at home. And also the turn-in button, especially for 5th grade parents. This was an experience we had last year of like assignments done and even done quite well, all on their own. And then the turn-in button just never hit. And so make sure that your kids have figured out how to use the turn-in button, and make sure you're checking Google Classroom. Grade.
If I could add,
Yeah, of course.
I found it useful when we came in last year to make sure your emails are set up for weekly alerts from the Google Classroom. So it'll email you and you'll check it weekly, daily. It allows you daily, weekly, and something else. And you're able to see what's missing and what's not missing. So you can get with them and they'll typically say it hasn't been graded yet, or I did and it's not up yet. But I found it very helpful to have the weekly alerts sent directly to my email.
I have one thing to add as well. When Finn was in 5th grade, I was encouraged by his advisor, Miss Bauer, to not like check all of his work. And I told him this is where you check it. This is what you do. This is what you need to do. Turn it in. And in his best subject, his favorite subject, he ended up getting a D one quarter because he did not submit any of his assignments. So I did not I did not step in because she said she was like trying to prepare him for 6th and 7th grade. And then the next quarter he got an A. But it's like with that 5th grade line of like, it's a great amount. It's a different responsibility from 4th to 5th grade, and Finn was not prepared. And even though he had all the assignments correct, he learned. And then, you know, now I don't even ask him anymore because of that.
Great. Any questions from parents before I can throw another common question out there? So another common question we get is, does my student have a homeroom? What's advisory? What's Rover? A Rover advisory homeroom? What's going on with all that? When I went to school, there were homerooms. I haven't heard anyone talk about homeroom.
Do you want anyone to just jump in?
Yeah, feel free.
Okay, so my understanding, and hopefully if I'm wrong, anyone can correct me, but the advisory is a period where they have an advisor that they keep all 4 years that they get in their 5th grade year, and they meet, and each advisor does it differently. But in Miss Bowers, they have like set days of the week. Like Wednesdays, they go over the advisory memo. Friday is like board game day. I don't remember the other days, but they know what to expect every time they're in advisory. It's also an opportunity if a child is a little bit behind in a project, they can, you know, not participate in that game day or whatever, and then they can catch up on a little bit of work. Like if there's a deadline at the end of the day, they can do that in there. And for Rover, there are 2 Rover periods. There's one in the morning, which is usually when they meet and they pick a Rover project. And then after lunch, they have a reading Rover. And I might be wrong on the times, but I think they're approximately 30 minutes each. And I forget the last thing. Oh, and homeroom. So they don't have a specific homeroom, but they will go over stuff in advisory similar to homeroom, but it's not exactly the same. Did I miss anything, anyone?
Well done. That answer exceeded expectations.
Thank you.
Which is probably a good transition to another question that I've definitely heard from parents. Hold on, I just hear a
Before you move on to
Lauren, go ahead.
the question, going back to the Rover project, is there, I know it like the kids can kind of pick what interests them for that. From anyone's understanding, is there a rubric assigned to that? Because currently we're in like a stage where it's like, well, what's your Rover project on? And he's telling me like the person he's researching, but I'm like, oh, and like, what are you like reporting? And he's just telling me like the day he was born and the day he died. And I'm like, I think there needs to be a little bit more content in there, but I don't know what to guide him towards.
So
My understanding is that the Rover projects are really just like student led, and there's not a rubric for the Rover projects, but anyone can correct me if I'm wrong. And the Rover teacher may, you know, encourage your child to do more digging. Yeah. Or not.
And I don't know if they still do this, but I remember last year with Finn that they did like for each quarter they had like a focus. Like I feel like one quarter they did like gender inequality things, and like there were groups, and I might be totally wrong. I don't know if they do that anymore or not, but like Finn was working with 2 other people and they did a project, and then we went around to like one of the meetings. We went around to all the different rooms and we heard the projects they were working on together, but I thought that they voted like on an overall topic and then they could pick what they wanted, but I might be wrong on that.
that one was definitely a humanities project. That was
Yeah, I was
our
gonna say, it's
museum
humanities.
project that happens every other year. I do want to make it clear for folks is that we are grading Rover for the first time ever, and there is no rubric. It's a pass-fail class. Either you rove or you don't rove. And the grade is based on like, do you come to class on time, and do you engage in our core values in the morning? Are you doing research? Or do you have a question? Do you present it to everybody? Kids can do group projects, but they don't necessarily have to in the morning. And in the afternoon, so that our humanities team is not worrying about fitting independent reading into our 65-minute humanities blocks. The expectation is kids have something to read, a text of their choice, and they are reading in that afternoon reading block. So it's not about how good you are at roving. It's not a meeting expectations, exceeding expectations kind of thing. It is just, are you doing it or not? And like full disclosure, we had like a 60% chronically late problem. Like a lot of kids would just not come to Rover because it didn't have a grade. So we're going to try and fix that by giving you a grade just for doing the thing we wanted you to do at 8:15 every morning. So yeah, that is a little change for this year. And this wise, I see that you have your hand up. It's been a long time since I've like managed a Google Meet, so I really don't know what to do other than announce that the text box is showing up. So feel free to just go. I'm not sure.
Okay. I just had a quick question. I was going to bring it up at the interims, but we're struggling to get to that Rover class at 8:15 due to the metal detectors. So if it's like pass or fail, where does that leave us if we're in line waiting to get through?
So I have told all of the Rover teachers to give everybody some grace. Normally I said late was 8:15 and 1 second. I'm telling folks to take attendance closer to 8:25 to make up for the fact that the scan is taking longer. Oddly enough, the scan taking longer is because kids are actually coming to school on time, which is like a really interesting problem of you want kids to get to school on time. Now all these other things downstream of that have to work better too. So we're giving kids some grace around what is late compared to past years. And there might be a tremendous amount of Fs at the interim. And that's why we do this stuff at the middle, so it's not a real grade yet. So we can talk to families like, did you know your kid was late to school 21 times in the past 30 days? And maybe change those behaviors before the report card comes out. And we don't have to put an F on a report card. We just have it on a piece of paper that we can throw out after the meeting.
Great. Katie.
Yeah, thanks for bringing up the metal detectors and the times that the kids can get in the building. Can you hear me? I'm on a headset that I'm not sure is working.
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay,
great.
Super. What time can they actually start getting in the building? That's something that I feel like I've never thought about.
We offer adult supervision at 7:45.
Oh, okay. So if, they're there early because of the, they take SEPTA and this, that, and the other, or they're walking, they can actually get in through the metal detectors early and not have to worry about that as much?
Indeed. I mean,
Okay,
I've
all
not
right.
heard SEPTA and get somewhere early in a sentence in a bit as a fellow SEPTA user. But yeah, so Mr. Boyer's day starts at 7:45. Officer Menez's day starts at 7:45. Folks on our climate team and folks on our STEP team are in the mix as well, closer to 8 o'clock. So there's eyes on your kids starting at 7:45. Breakfast is available for whoever wants it between 7:45 and roughly 8:13. And we're trying to get all the kids through the scan and then also through the ID swipe machine, and then up to class, all by 8:15. We've talked to the kids a lot about to get from the scan to the furthest classroom takes me walking slowly 2 minutes and 38 seconds. And at this point in my career, I've had like a pretty good like Terminator slow walk. So any kid in the building can definitely make it to class if they are through the scan by 8:12.
Okay, that is
To be,
super
like,
helpful.
super specific about it.
Okay, no, that's really helpful. And then the second question is for the libraries in the classrooms, for humanities, or I guess whoever's holding Rover and they get their time to read, do those books, do the teachers need donations, or how, if we have extra books at home that we want to get not rid of, but that we'd be happy to pass along? Is that something to talk to the different teachers about, or is there someone else to move things through towards them?
We would happily take what you have. And every 2 years, we do a project where kids get a budget and they propose buying books. And part of the project is like you have to pitch your proposal to someone on campus. So like I get a bunch of proposals, Miss Kathy gets a bunch of proposals, and then we go ahead and buy those books. So we do try and refresh the classroom libraries every other year. And it is never a bad thing to have more books than we currently have.
Okay, super. Thank you.
Catherine.
Mr. Boyle, Finn's in his 3rd year now. I've not heard of that with the book buying, like with the proposals and stuff, and I feel like it's something that Finn would like jump on. Is that something that like Miss Bauer would tell us about, or how would we find out more about that?
Yeah, I think that would have happened when he was in 5th grade. Because we are in a community year now, and that is a community theme project. So because of when Finn started, that would have been a 5th grade project.
Okay. And I have one other thing is that when you said community year, last year we helped out with the bravery in the neighborhood like walk, and I asked Miss Bauer if it would be this year, and she said no, this isn't a bravery year, and I didn't think to ask about it. Is there like different years that I don't know if the other parents know about it? Could you tell us real quick?
So for 5th and 6th, they alternate. Odd years are community, and that's where we're in right now. So you have a 5th or 6th grader. They're working on essential questions around community, and since I'm trying to get my toddler out of a closet while explaining this, I'm going to look it up, not trying to remember it. And then we do the same thing in 7th and 8th. So we have themes around authenticity and themes around discovery. So right now we're in a discovery year for 7th and 8th graders. And the idea is we ping pong back and forth. So no matter when you start SLAMS, you experience all of the themes if you're there for 4 years. And if you're here for that back-to-back years, you would experience both 7, 8 themes. If you're there for 2 years and 5, 6, you'd experience both themes. It just depends on when you start the order. And yeah, so like at this point, 5, 6 has a bunch of projects that we've done multiple times, like the Bravery in the Neighborhood project. We're probably going to do every even year for the foreseeable future. The museum project of last year is also a Bravery year project that is going to happen on 5, 6 every even year. Zephyr and Phoenix are still figuring out like what are the big projects that they always want to do in Discovery versus the big projects they want to do in Authenticity. But when you hear those words, there's a subset of questions that I'll just like share my screen when I get to them that folks can see. So that way kids are hearing the same kind of questions and dealing with the same kind of ideas, whether they're in math, whether they're in science, whether they're in humanities.
Thank you so much.
Katie, do you have another question, or is that a lingering hand?
Oh, that's a lingering hand. Apologies.
No problem. And I wanted to just chime in here with another question for parents, which we hear a lot, is sort of what's the deal with interim conferences, not having parent-teacher conferences the same day as the rest of the school district? How does that work? How do I know when we have school and when we don't have school? Jen, I know you were about to say something about or you referenced interim conferences. Maybe you can talk about that a little bit.
Sure. So last year or 2 years ago, SLAMS petitioned the district to change when conferences occur, realizing that when you get to report card conferences, it's too late to do anything about what's been done. you can move forward for the next quarter, but you're already, behind or potentially behind. And so meeting at the interims gives students and families an opportunity to look at, here's where we're at, and here's the things that you can do to improve your situation. And gosh, I wish the whole district would just adapt, because it is tremendous. I was so mad when they did it, because that meant I had 21 half days to juggle between multiple kids, but it works. It works so well. And for fifth grade families, you'll get to see your kids' first project for each of their classes and be able to really see that how SLAMS works a month and a half into the school year. So it's really good. And how do you know? You look at the SLAMS calendar on the SLAMS website, because Ms. Dom is a calendar maven, and make sure that that is always up to date. And you don't look at the district's calendar. The kids, the rest of the district, when they have that whole day off in November, SLAMS will be in session. And when they have conferences, I think it's in February, SLAMS will have already had theirs in December.
Katie.
Yeah, thank you. I do have another question actually about conferences, so thank you for bringing that up. Mr. Boyle, do you have any sense of your percentage of families that come to the interim versus conferences versus the school district wide average? Has it made a difference since you folks switched over?
Unfortunately, the district does not keep any data on families attending conferences, which was like a really interesting thing to go through of like, well, we could probably prove that we do it better. It's just like, we can't prove anything at all. Post-pandemic, I would say conference attendance is up after we've switched. Compared to our early years, conference attendance is down. And some of that I think is like early years were just different than now. I'm hoping for 85% attendance, and we're pretty flexible. There are the 3 days and the 6 hours to do them. Most advisors are more than happy to meet on their prep or before school or accommodate people in other ways. And I count a conference done that happens. So if a conference has to happen on a day outside of that window, I'd much rather have that conference done than have it done in a certain time slot. Knowing that there are like limits to what we can put on people and not have like unlimited conference time throughout forever. Looking today, I would say if everyone who did not intend to have a conference is voicing that by not signing up, we're going to hit like 60% attendance next week. I have a feeling a lot of folks are going to be continually pestered by their children and their advisors. And there's always the folks that just roll up during Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday without a conference time. And we usually can accommodate that. So I'm optimistic we're going to get at least 80, but 85% is really the number that I'm looking for.
All right, thanks.
Question. Any other questions from parents? All right, I have another one that I have heard a bunch, which is what are rubrics? Do exceeds expectations, meet expectations, approaching expectations? Does that mean grades, especially among fifth grade parents? Like, are my kids going to get grades at the end of the quarter and end of the year? How does grading work at SLAMS?
I can jump in to start this. The rubric is specific to the assignment, and the teacher gives the rubric out with the giving out of the initial assignments. And it kind of looks like a chart, and it is laid out exactly what the expectations for the students to do to meet each and every of those rubrics, whether or not it is, let's see, for them to get an A, it is laid out what they need to do. If for them to get a B, it is laid out exactly what they need to do. And so it's not just one monolithic rubric that is attached to every single assignment. It is for each assignment in each class, there is a chart that lays out for your student exactly how they can get whatever grade that they can get if they follow those directions. And then if the item is graded and it's not at a grade that the student wants or was expecting, most of the time, I believe, if not all of the time, there are opportunities for your student to redo it according to the rubric to get a different grade, if that is something that they would like to do.
And Kim, I'd like to add also that for some families and students, it's like a hard adjustment because they're used to their children getting straight A's. And for my son, he really appreciated the options to like meet expectations, exceed expectations, approaching expectations, more so than someone saying to him, "Oh, you have a C. That's not that great." So when he reframed his mind, like he's happy just meeting expectations. And I know some of the teachers will push him to exceed, but it's not like, "Oh, mom, I didn't get a 95. I didn't have an A." Like he'll bring it home and be like, "Look, I exceeded expectations." And it is a little bit of a it is a difficult like thing to adjust to, but I feel like in the long term it helps prepare them like with the rubric and everything for like what's next, like 7th and 8th grade, then high school. And I think it really overall for our family, it took a lot of the stress and pressure off of those numbers and like grades, that he's learning, but he's not like, "Oh, everyone else got an A." So
yes,
I'm very fortunate, and I'm very fortunate that Mr. Boyle framed the grading that way. It is an adjustment, but I think overall it's very beneficial to the students.
Great. So how about when you have a question as a parent, or you're not sure what's going on in a class, or maybe things don't seem like they're going well for your kid in a class, who have parents on this call reached out to, and how has that worked for them? Erica.
Well, we have Miss Nashadim as an advisor, and we text her directly. If there's an issue, she answers right away. If she's late, she responds. Any issue that we might have, any questions, lateness, absence, random question, she's there to ask. Even Boyer is there to ask via text, but that's usually my go-to for magic, and that's Nashadim.
That's great. Asia.
Richards is Mr. Gottner. I have texted Mr. Gottner in the past. I'm an emailer since I'm mostly at my desk at work able to email, so that is the easiest way to get in. Effective way to reach who I need to reach, even if it isn't Mr. Gottner.
And that's been my experience too. The advisory teacher in my case, Dr. Katie, has just been a great resource, helping us find out what's going on. And then also we've been able to like follow up directly with a teacher through Dr. Katie, and keeping her in the loop there when there's been an issue.
The other helpful thing, and this might be someone else's question, is when we have like progress notes, whether they are positive or room for improvement. Generally, like everyone was saying, like I go through the advisor, but if it's a concern or like a congratulations from the specific math teacher or whatever, you can write back in the email. I always copy the advisor, Ms. Bauer, the advisor. But then if the teacher specifically wants to like have a conversation with you, or that's when they'll step in. So I always first line of defense is is Miss Bauer, or the advisor. And yeah, so the progress notes, basically, I don't know if I can just answer that quickly, is that if you haven't received any, it's could be good or bad, but generally the ones that I've received, I've had about half positive and half, room for improvement. And they're 99.9% of the time, if it's room for improvement, they are written in a way that is super encouraging. Student reads it, then they'll either discuss with the advisor or with the parents as well. And even with the ones where it needs improvement, from my perspective, Finn never felt like he was in trouble. It was like a positive, like, okay, Finn, we know you can do better. Let's work on it. How do we do a plan? And then there's also been ones where it's like, he's outstanding and he's like, oh my gosh, someone recognized me. So at first I was like, oh God, every progress note's going to be bad, but it's never bad. It's more of like, including the student, they're involved in the process. And hey, we're sending this to your guardian or parent as well to let you know what's going on.
Great. Any other questions from parents? We have just about 4 minutes left. And I just want to thank you. Yeah, go ahead, Mark.
I know last year we had talked about some traffic and street crossing safety concerns. I'm wondering if there's some updates on that.
I am expecting to hear yesterday. We had the kids do some focus groups. We had the group that we enlisted to help come out and actually see what the dismissal scene looked like multiple times. And then I heard over the summer that folks were at the working with William Penn to get it funded stage. So I have not heard since August about when shovels or jackhammers or the proverbial shovels and jackhammers might be in the ground. But the team we're working with has finished the data collection phase and is in the funding phase. I was hopeful that we'd start the school year with this. I imagine some point during this school year and hopefully this calendar year, we will start to see some actual construction happen. But as soon as I get word, that'll be in the next week's advisory memo, is I would like there to be large concrete things that keep cars away from our children.
Great. So I have one last question, because I know this topic is going to be coming up soon, which is, what are mini courses this time on Wednesdays? What are they? How do our kids pick them? So do folks want to chime in on their mini course experiences with their kids? Sure, Katie.
Yeah, I think that Elsa didn't have great luck with mini courses last year. And I understand there, because I ran into Principal Boyle one time in the hallway and he just said, people cancel at the last minute. So I understand it's hard to, just have people keep their promises and follow through on the mini courses. But yeah, they didn't end up being as great as she hoped, but there's always another year.
That is a very accurate portrayal of mini courses in the 23-24 school year. The very quick.
Prior to that, there are some great ones.
Yeah. Sometimes they work out lovely. Sometimes they're mediocre. Sometimes it is a great way for a kid to find out what they don't want to do. Right now, we have 356 slots for our 360 kids. So we are in very good shape to start October 9th with our first round of mini courses. For folks who've been with us for a while, we started out pretty much every Wednesday. We've truncated that down to match Drexel's calendar. So we're running 23 Wednesdays this year. Drexel's kind enough to support 125 slots for us. So they're doing a very big lift. And all of our 8th graders this year will get to do like a Drexel campus experience. They're going to split them into thirds, take a third in the winter, fall, third in the winter, third in the spring. But the idea is for kids to try something they would never try normally. or do something at school they know that they like to do outside of school, but not have to worry about joining a club or committing to something in the after school environment, and do it in a amount of time that's also constructive. We're running 3 cycles this year, 7 weeks, 7 weeks, and 9 weeks. Kids can hop around to 3 different courses. Some kids like to stay in the same course all year. They can be as varied as exploring gender identity to robotics to dance to squash, and anything else we can hustle in between. Whenever you see Ms. Dom, feel free to say thank you, as Ms. Dom has taken over the project manager role. And I cannot remember the last time we were 2 weeks from starting mini courses and we had 98% of our spots filled. So she's doing a lovely job actually making sure kids have courses to go to, and providers that have signed agreements. Again, the caveat is human beings will be frail, but we have every intention of having kids engage in an activity that is meaningful for them from 2 to 3:15 on Wednesdays. The other bonus is I take the staff and we actually get better at doing slams as adults, while your kids enjoy doing the thing that they picked. We will put out, we have over 20 offerings in the fall. Kids rank them. And as long as kids don't rank everything terrible and one thing good, but like honestly engage in the ranking process, Ms. Dom and I will give them one of their top 3 choices. If you don't rank anything, I'm going to put you whenever I feel like. If you rank one thing 1 and everything else, all of the different words that kids use to describe bad, I also will put you whenever I feel like. But most kids get one of their top 3 choices.
That is great. It is a little bit after 8 o'clock. I just want to say thank you to everyone for joining this call. It was great to have such a wonderful turnout. Thanks for participating. We'll find out if anyone watches, but I feel like this recording will definitely be valuable for other parents. Before you go, I am going to make you pay a toll. So I'm going to launch a little poll here, and it would be great. You should all see the poll coming up on your screens, hopefully. And it's a little bit about what you would want to do at the next general meeting. So I think vision for general meetings is update on the HSA, and then some kind of briefing on what you would want to hear more about from the school. So this could be hearing from the school climate staff. It could be doing some kind of deeper dive into understanding what the math curriculum is or the humanities curriculum. We could do something on preteen or teen mental health. You could not like any of these options and just pick something else. So thank you so much. Make sure you vote before you leave. And I hope we will see you at our next meeting, which will probably be in late October or November.
Cool. We also would really like to hear things besides meetings that you would like to see HSA doing. And we have talked offline about happy hours and opportunities for families to meet up, park meetups and the like. So if you're interested in any of those things, please let us know. And if you're interested in leading any of those things, we would love that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And one final note before we go, don't forget that our swag sale ends on Sunday.
Yes.
This is our fall swag sale. I forgot to wear my swag, but your kids love wearing their hoodies and their t-shirts, and it's a direct fundraiser for the HSA. So don't forget to click the link. Thanks, Kim, and order your children's t-shirts, and also adults get them as well.
Wonderful. Okay, I'm just going to call out this group. There are 8 votes, and I see 18 of us on the call. The board should feel free to vote as well. We are currently only approaching expectations in SLAMS parlance, so please try to vote in the poll if it's popped up for you. If you haven't, you don't see it for some reason, you see that little, in the lower right, there's a square, a circle, and a triangle. Try clicking on that button, the activities button, and hopefully you'll see the poll there. And if not, you can drop in the chat what you'd want to hear. Anyway, great. So thanks so much for everybody for joining, and we will see you next time.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
Thank
Andrew.
you.
Thank you, team.
Thank
Good
you.
night, everyone.